Hello there, Cancer. Welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for the month of August, and I hope first and foremost that your month is getting off to a really great start. And this month, I'm excited to look at the forecast because we're finally out of that retrograde. And with the shadow being at the beginning of the month, it provides a really great chance for you to look at anything in your life that you want to create some sort of a change in. And you have that energy of alchemy, of being able to transmute or to shift. In fact, in preparation for all signs this month, I meditated to see if I could find an overarching thread, and it really was that transformative energy, and it came through in a couple of visuals for me. The first was literally just a moon, not necessarily the moon card, but the moon itself. To me, that is a really powerful symbol of the divine feminine, of being able to open up and allow for things to come into your life. It's a receptive energy. It's also a very revealing energy, but it works in subtle ways, which means that, sometimes with what you might see on TV when you think of a medium or an intuitive, it's kind of like this flash of light and they see something in their head. When you're working with lunar energy sometimes, or that symbol of the moon, it can come through as just a feeling, a hunch, mother's intuition, just knowing, that inner sort of knowing. And for many of you that are natural empaths, you feel this on a daily basis. It just might be heightened a little bit towards the beginning of this month. I really want you to home in on that and allow for that to be your compass. And if there's anything that you're afraid of, or you have this nagging feeling that it's time now to resolve, please do it at the beginning of the month. It's going to save you a lot of time and energy later, and it's going to clear the path. We'll talk more about that when I get into the channeled information. The other symbol that I got, again, looking at all 12 signs, was the energy of the magician, which is the natural channeler when you're looking at the major arcana. Basically, he is able to pull energy from the divine and bring it into the physical realm. So I had a combination of divine feminine and divine masculine energy that was coming through in that meditation, showing balance, showing that things are going to basically fall into place this month, but you have to work through the fear, or you might have to move through something that you're uncomfortable with. Ultimately, this is going to be a very freeing thing and basically unshackling you from anything that's been holding you back. So I am really looking forward to seeing how I can help you find all of those opportunities to, again, transmute, to let go, and hopefully to really maximize all of the possibilities for the month ahead. Before we get too much deeper into the forecast, I just want to quickly remind everybody that you can always use my readings for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign, and you can watch on behalf of someone that you care about in your life. If you don't happen to know sun, rising, and moon, just stick with your birth sign and you'll get more than enough guidance by doing that. To all of my return viewers, I'd like to start off by saying thank you and welcome back. I really appreciate not only the support here on the channel, but the work that you continue to do on yourselves. It really does make it worth my while every month, so thank you. If you're brand new, let me just introduce myself as well. My name is Ashbaugh, and the way that I organize my readings every month is as follows. I like to start off with channeled information, and that's probably my favorite part. That's where I'm just using raw intuition alone and looking at the month ahead, seeing what's coming through. After that, I use a deck of cards and pull a full Celtic cross to look at all of the energy that we need to focus on. Whatever really needs to organically show up in this spread will, and then after that I make sure that I hit on major areas that I know you all care about, including health, wealth, love, and destiny. Now, if you like everything that you see here, I would love for you to stick around until the end of the video, because at that point I will give you some more information on how you can make a difference and give back. Everything that you see here is fan supported, and that means that when you like and subscribe, when you share on your social media network, or if you choose to become a patron or book an appointment, all of these things go into helping keep this channel alive and well. So at the very end, I'll go into great depth on how you can do all of these. So please do stick around. But in the meantime, I know that you can't wait to hear what's coming through for this month. So let's get straight into your channeled information for the month of August. As I selected a deck of cards and began to meditate on the energy just for your sign, what came through was the image of weather. I saw kind of like a rainstorm. I felt the wind blowing, and I just stood there for a moment and allowed this to happen. And as I was patient, I started to feel a little bit of warmth and radiance as the sun began to break through the clouds, a sunbreak, if you will. And as that happened, I started to see the clouds dissipate and see everything open up. There was still a little bit of cloudiness on the edges, but the main part of the sky was clear. The sun was shining down. I could feel the wind blowing as the clouds continued to dissipate. For me, this was symbolic of an emotional release, and I wrote down in my channeled writing, release as the main word, but the reason for this is to make space in your life. And sometimes if we hold on to something, we might be holding on in our heart, we might be kind of pulling it around us in our energy. It could also be clutter that we're kind of keeping in our physical space. When we hold on to things in mind, body, and spirit, and also, like I said, physical items, what it does is it doesn't allow for growth or for new things to come in. So the most difficult component for many of you this month is going to be identifying what you need to let go of and then letting go of it, or allowing it to sort of flow through you. I wanted to emphasize that this could be a creative release, it could be an emotional release, or it could be the release of material items. This will be making space in your life for something new. I'd like to just encourage you to be gentle with yourself, because the initial energy that I picked up on for everything was the moon. The moon works in, like I said, subtle ways, mysterious ways, gentle sort of communication. So don't rush through this process of release. Allow it to happen when you're ready, in the timing that is correct, and take as much time as you need, because it's more important that this release is complete than that you rush through something and try to get into something else before there's a resolution. Let's move along now and get into the Celtic cross. I'm going to remain quiet at this point, but after I've laid out all of the cards, I'll pick up each and every card and relate it to your messages for the month of August. All right, in your catalyst position this month, there's a card that's encouraging you to embrace ambiguity. First of all, let me just review what the catalyst is. It's a connective thread for all of the cards that we have in front of us. It's also a way for you to embrace the blessings in any given month. Let's pull the card upright and read it so that you can see it clearly. It says, unknown or uncharted territory, you are exactly where you need to be. However, the card was reversed, which could show some of you feeling like, I don't know if I can take this risk, or what if I make a mistake? What if people look at me and laugh? Or what if this just doesn't work out? There is a fear component that I would encourage you to let go of, and that was what we were talking about earlier. There's going to be different places where you can release something. We look at your crowning card here, in fact, and we see the Fool reverse, which is an embodiment of some of the things that I was just saying that would be good to embrace. Like, you know what? I'm ready, I'm willing, I can take this chance. Maybe I can laugh at myself too if I make a mistake, and learn, more importantly, because every single successful person in this world, whether they're a leader or a celebrity or just a rich business person, especially spiritual people, we all make mistakes. The difference is it's just not going to define us. The mistake is a moment where you learn, where you need to grow, you understand what your triggers are, you might learn from another person and think, what did I do to attract this to me? And the Fool is when you're ready to move on. You basically dust yourself off and think, I can handle this, I'm gonna be okay. What I like about the Fool energy, and what's important to focus on because it's in your crowning position, is it's saying, don't let something weigh you down. We didn't actually get the card, but I was feeling that some of you might be holding on to something, and I think if you keep doing that, those of you that are, that could lead to a Devil card, which is sort of, again, tethering. The fact that we got the Fool in the crowning position is saying that many of you are already on the path to release, to recovery, to expansion, because look at what the Fool is looking at here. A butterfly, metamorphosis, transformation, something that we were talking about quite a bit earlier. So he is not afraid of whatever is behind him, whatever potential pitfalls may be here. He's ready to spread his wings and fly. And this month, please don't hold back for the fear of failure. It's okay. We all have to sort of try something. You might make mistakes. People may not understand you, but This is a month where forward momentum, forward motion, breaking free, that's really going to be part of the narrative, so I encourage you to do so. All right, let's move to your center card here. We have the High Priestess in reverse. First of all, the High Priestess is one of the best cards in the deck because this is about being able to connect to your intuition. A lot of times this will come through for a naturally intuitive person or a psychic or a healer. But when the card is reversed, what it can also indicate is someone who is not listening to that voice in their head that's telling them to do the right thing, or not listening to their gut instinct or their heart. And this is a warning for many of you to not push that kind of stuff under the rug this month. So for instance, if you are interviewing for a job and you step into the lobby and just get a bad feeling and think, I really don't want to be here, don't take that job if you get an offer. If you meet someone for the first time and you have either a really positive or negative impression there, use that as a compass to really help you navigate through what's good and what you should avoid this month. This may also be, again, the moon energy, the lunar energy, working through things like dreams, or some of you may receive information through a song on the radio, a license plate, or you get a persistent thought in your head. Whatever kind of language or symbology the universe is using to convey messages and information to you this month, pay attention. It's going to help you, and every day you'll have some sort of a symbol or a guide or a feeling. The other really important thing that I want you all to be aware of is that this is a card of manifestation. So if I see this in the center, if I see it in the ego position, if I see it in the outcome, or if it's in the crowning, any of those key areas, the High Priestess is telling you that wherever you take your thoughts, your opportunities will follow. So if you believe in what is possible, then you end up going on a higher path and you open up new growth, new opportunities, and new things in your life that are going to be beneficial. That's what the Fool is showing you. Allow yourself to dream. The Fool is a bit of a dreamer. Now, if you attach to going to the critical, thinking, if I try this, I'll fail, or if I do this, then people won't accept me, or what if it just doesn't work out, then you start to attract people and situations in your life that are going to test you and think, wait, are you ready for this? Because you seem to be hesitating. So what I would kind of encourage you to think about is, why go to the negative and stay there when you could go to positive and possibilities, and even thinking of tangible things like how you can make it happen, and each day working towards that. Waking up in the morning and thinking, today is going to be a great day. Not just that it could be, think, I'm going to make today a great day. This is so much healthier than waking up and thinking, oh no, another day, or oh my God, when is it going to be Friday? And I'm sure you've met even people in your life where it seems like whenever you try to just have a conversation, all they do is focus on the bad things that are going on. So what I want you to do is to change the channel and change the narrative this month for yourself and think, I'm making this happen, today's going to be great, and I'm expecting some good news to come through. If you start expecting good things, you open up that panel for it to happen. So I want you to try that exercise this month. Think, it's going to work, it's going to shift, I'm ready for something good, and see what happens. You've got to hold that frequency though, so when you start to go into the negative, bring it back up and think, no, it's going to be all right. That was one situation, one thing. It's not going to set the whole month into a bad trajectory. I'm actually trending towards something good. Remember, the Fool has an ability to sort of let things go, not focus too much, stay in a lighter space. And levity in general is going to be good. So maybe take some time to hang out with your friends, watch something funny on TV, or see a play or something like that. Get your energy shifted out of wherever it is feeling sort of heavier. The reason I want you to focus on the positive is right on top of that High Priestess card, we have the Sun and it's upright. And if we look again at the center card, even though this is a High Priestess, it really is illustrated much more like the moon. The focus is on the moon energy. So we have the Sun and the moon, which is alluding back to what I saw way back at the beginning when I was looking at all 12 zodiac signs, the solar energy, the lunar energy, the divine masculine, and the divine feminine energy. And then if we pull all of this together and look at the outcome card, what I see for many of you is a partnership. Now this could be love, it could be business, it could just be a friend coming in, but this is in your outcome. So what I see happening this month is an ability for you to bring in something really beneficial and someone that really has your back. Let's go back to the center though and talk about what the Sun means on top of this. This is about charisma for many of you. So don't underestimate the power of a smile. the tone of your voice, the way you're holding yourself. And, I said that thoughts make a big impact. So do all of those things that I just talked about. And the Sun card generally shows that whatever challenges may occur, things will be okay. Remember, I saw the sun coming out in the meditation that I did for you. In fact, when I look in your deep past, we have the Three of Wands, and that tells me many of you have already set into motion a positive trajectory. This is often an indication of a 3-month period where you start to see progress. For me, the Three of Wands usually shows progress within the same month. The Two of Wands is when you're setting everything up. The Three of Wands does indicate that there needs to be some patience, but the fact that this is in the past tells me that you should start to see some things manifest this month, especially if you're awake, aware, and you continue to push towards that positive energy that we've been talking about so much at the center. Another thing that I'd like to touch upon is I see the genesis of something creative here as I look at your center cards. We just talked about the Three of Wands. It's in the deep past. Notice that there is a connection here. 2 people plus a baby, which can symbolize in real life a child or the creation of something. The Sun card, often a partnership card, but can also be a child. Sometimes a baby is on this. The Fool card, the very beginning of the major arcana, literally the number 0, as in a fresh start. So for some of you, you could either be getting a brand new opportunity, a clean slate, as I said earlier. There could be a birth, 0, brand new, and then all of these sort of children that I'm seeing across the center. So there is a chance to bring either something into fruition or creation this month or have a brand new opportunity. And if something in the past has provided some sort of a block where you keep failing and it doesn't work, this time I think it's going to work out for you because everything's pointing in the right direction. So this is a second chance where as long as you show up and keep putting in the effort, you'll notice something come through. We've got a great card showing up in recent past, the Ace of Swords. If you've been feeling a lack of motivation, this card shows that towards the beginning of this month, you should actually feel that it's starting to change. And because aces can be 1s or even 10s sometimes, by the 10th of the month, I would say by mid-month, by the time we're out of retrograde shadow, you should start to feel a lot of energy coming through, a lot more vitality. Now, it's important that we look at this in conjunction with the Environment card, which is Justice reversed. Now, Justice reversed means that you really want to be careful when it comes to any sort of legal documents, when it comes to anything written, whether you're writing it or whether you're reading something that someone has sent you, because there could be either room for misinterpretation, there could literally be an error that needs to be corrected, or there might be a situation where you have to stand up for yourself and say no. And in this case, you absolutely want to get the best possible legal representation that you can, because with justice being in reverse, it's sort of tricky. And even the Ace of Swords is literally a double-edged sword, so it could go either way. However, the odds are stacked in your favor because you have the Seven of Wands in reverse, and it's right in between the High Priestess and the Justice card reverse. So all of these are showing that if you keep your wits about you, if you're prepared, and if you believe in yourself, you can push the desired outcome into actually happening. Again, there needs to be a sense that it's possible and that you're not going to feel like you're worrying about all of the potential pitfalls. Just be prepared, be strong, keep your voice loud and clear, okay? Let's continue to go clockwise here. With the Fool card, again, there is that desire for you to also have some fun this month. If you haven't made room for that, that's going to be key in diffusing things. And it's also going to be necessary for allowing you to have a release. Laughter and tears work equally as well. So whatever end of the spectrum feels good for you, go for it. Artistic expression is also a great way to do that. And as we now look at your near future, we talked briefly about Seven of Wands. This is also letting you know that if there's anything going on in your life where it's just too much energy, too much drama, just an unnecessary distraction. Seven of Wands is a multitasking card, but it comes through sometimes when you're overdoing it. And I've seen this come through in many signs this month. So I think there's a common thread that it's okay to say no. It's important to delegate. And when you know your limits, then you won't get into a situation that you regret later by saying you can do something, but you can't. And the fact that we have justice right by it in reverse is saying that there's something for many of you where it's important just to simply push back and say, this doesn't feel right, I don't want to do this, or simply and quite elegantly, no. And that's going to be a saving grace for you if you're able to get that out. And I know it's hard sometimes just to say that one word, but there's a lot of power, and when it's appropriate, then there's nothing to feel bad about if you have to say no. In the ego this month, we have the Five of Wands, which is actually first and foremost an indication that many of you are working really hard. And with the Five of Wands, often there is a need for you just to stay motivated. I mentioned that for some of you that motivation may not kick in until like the 10th or the 15th of the month, so don't give up. That's what I'm seeing with this. Stay true to what it is that you're trying to create. See that vision. Again, maybe even meditate on the Two of Wands card where you see that individual holding what it is that they're trying to manifest. Or think of it here in the High Priestess as well, knowing that there's a little bit of magic involved with thoughts. They really are the closest thing that we have to magic. If you believe it, if you truly believe it and feel it, mind, body, and spirit, you can bring it into your life on many levels in many situations. Now, the Five of Wands is attached to Justice reversed. This is saying that some of you might be ready to let go of a working situation or something in your life that's created this feeling of just being taxed or sort of like tapped out. So if there's a person, a place, or thing that constantly feels like it's just depleting your spiritual and physical and like even mental batteries, then it's time to say no. I mentioned no is a powerful word, and it's really, really important. If you have to say no, if you have to step away, then do it. Justice reverse can also mean like a separation or a divorce. And if that's something that needs to happen, as I said, get a good lawyer. Right above this, we have the Page of Swords. Pages are all about sending and receiving messages. So you may be on the recipient end, or you may be the one sending that kind of information out. Just be clear, be decisive, and don't be afraid to speak your mind. The interesting thing with the page is it's attached to both a negative and a positive card. So for some of you, when you say goodbye or when you say no with Justice reverse, in the reverse state rather, what happens then is we have the Two of Cups upright as the outcome. So speaking your truth, staying true to what it is that you want actually brings in something more beneficial, something that you can celebrate, something that people are going to be interested in. So I see for many of you success after a period of struggling, after possibly having to sort of cut loose something in your life, having to fight for something that you care about. And the way that you're going to be successful with this is through trusting in yourself, not being afraid of unnecessary and possibly not even real sort of outcomes, basically fear-based thoughts, letting those fear-based thoughts fall like the rain that I saw in my meditation, and instead replacing them with a feeling like I can handle this. Have that Seven of Wands energy where it's like I can hold back anything, and I'm not afraid of going after what I want. I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and good things are going to happen. You're going to make room. You're going to try something new. Some of you may be stepping into a new living situation, a new relationship, a new job, but it should feel exhilarating. It should be like the fool looking at that butterfly thinking, I can't wait to try something new. It's time. Or for those of you that have been maybe for a while giving birth to something, this can be symbolic. Like for those of you that have been creating something, you could be an architect, you could be a writer, you could be trying to launch a business, and it could be years in the making. This month, something is different in a positive way because we have the Fool card, which is a reset, and then we have the Two of Cups, which is partnership or receipt. People are interested, things are starting to change, you're starting to change, and that's going to bring in positive energy. One thing that I'd like to highlight is that we didn't see any cards surrounding pentacles, which show resources like time, money, and even energy. So when it comes to what could be a contractual negotiation this month, make sure that the money is where it needs to be. An absence of something can still be something that we have to talk about. The other thing is, you guys always ask me about relationships. We ended with the Two of Cups. That's great. I think that yes, this is a good month to begin new ones if you're looking for a new relationship. Just make sure that you've cleaned up everything in the environment because we have the Justice card reversed. And I mentioned cleaning, like literally. Maybe this is a good time if you're trying to get over someone or something to get rid of objects associated with that, whether it was a job or a relationship. Clean house, quite literally, and let go of that stuff. And before you get into a new engagement, whether it's business or personal, make sure that you're ready for it emotionally. Go through that grieving process, that Justice card in reverse. Now, if you're in an existing relationship, the one thing that I would say with the Fool card in the crowning position and the Two of Cups is this can be a new beginning. So if there's been, for some of you, a near split or near miss, this means that you have a second chance. You may need help, though. The Two of Cups is as much about your loved one as it could be about going to couples therapy or something like that. A lot of shifting, a lot of positive movement. The key thing for all of you this month is to stay on the side of possibilities. Let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we'll begin with this mind, body, spirit card that I just simply call health. Let's give it a good shuffle and see what the message is for you. It's very interesting that we've spent a lot of time today talking about being positive, and what we see here in the mind, body, spirit message is self-esteem. And in order to feel healthier and be healthier, one of the important things is to emotionally kind of reset and feel that I can do this. Anything is possible. So I would say this month, really focus on setting up opportunities in your life that help you build yourself up from the inside out. And this is going to help you in wealth, even though this came through in health. Self-worth equals net worth, and self-worth also helps with relationships. So this will help in love. This is basically your foundational card, if you will, this month, even though it's showing up in health. So I would say work on healthier relationships, work situations, and habits that will help you feel better about yourself. If there's anything in the periphery that doesn't feel good, that's why we got justice reversed. It's time to go through and do some pruning, some symbolic pruning of these things that cut away at your heart space, your who you feel you are. And if there's anything that you're doing critically as well, negative thoughts about your body, about your mind, about what you think is possible, know that it will be very difficult for someone to accept, to love, and to support you if you can't do that for yourself. So work on self-love, self-nurturing, self-esteem this month. And don't be afraid to reach out for help and get a life coach, a psychologist, or a mentor that can help you on that path. That'll be the best investment of time, energy, and money that you could do this month. Let's move along now to wealth and see what's coming through for money and opportunities in the month of August. So as we look at wealth, there actually could be a connection to healing within families for some of you, and it could be over money. We have Mother Mary here, but it says, let go of the need to be right, choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So this could be a mother or a father, because we're looking at a single parent card here, really. So I would say if there's ever been an issue between you and a family member, especially a parental figure or someone in an authority position, an aunt, an uncle, etc., this is a time to rectify that. This is a time to balance out the scales a little bit, to say I'm sorry, to make room for that. The other thing here is if there's a work situation, because this is coming through where I would normally associate like work and school, and we have this card of being overly defensive here with the Seven of Wands. If there's something that you need to fight for it. Of course, if there's an injustice, like if someone did something to hurt you, to steal from you, or they're breaking laws, rules, or regulations, absolutely stand up. If there's just someone who has a hard time acquiescing and saying, I'm wrong, and it's not essential, and you kind of assess the situation and think it's not worth my time and energy, this card is also telling you to pick and choose your battles, so that sometimes if there's a big group of friends and there's just someone that's contrary, you could walk away from that and think, I don't need to cause a big scene or a big situation. But with justice there, if it's important, if they've overstepped, and if you feel like you need to, go for it. The bigger thing with justice reversed and this sort of love and peace card is you can leave in love and peace. Sometimes walking away from a friendship or from a group of friends or from a job is better than staying and being miserable or staying and arguing. So the path of peace can simply be no and goodbye, and that's okay as well. The main thing here is to heal yourself and to find a place where you're feeling peace and quiet. So use that as you will, but it feels like we've got two cards here that would show up a connection to resources. I'm not seeing money, so I think that we could also read it this way. In order for you to have more abundance, something needs to be set right that isn't right in the current situation. And for many of you, that's a feeling that there's not a sense of appreciation, of good cooperation, of a peaceful environment. And so if you're working somewhere where you feel threatened or you're not feeling supported, or you just feel like it's not the kind of group energy that you wanted, this card is saying, then seek that out. It's okay, this is a good time, because when you say no, when you sort of begin that journey to find something new, it will come through. But it's important for you to make the decision that you're ready to leave. And I think some of you haven't made that decision just yet. So for some of you, it's time to move on, or it's time to speak up. It's time to pick and choose exactly which battle is important for you. So there's some decisions to make when we look at wealth. Let me see if there's anything else that I can pick up on just with the cards. Yeah, for some of you, there's a risk. We have the Fool here. So this means that, you may be in a very comfortable situation, but there's things about it that aren't good. Comfortable or predictable isn't always good, because it doesn't allow for that growth that we were talking about. And both the High Priestess and the Fool card have butterflies on them, which is showing metamorphosis. And that's breaking through your cocoon. And that's really what this month is for many of you, is stretching out and looking at the unknown. That's what your Catalyst card was showing. And it's not a bad thing. So it's just unfamiliar. And it says, unknown territory, you are exactly where you need to be. So for some of you, that new start is okay? So if you needed a nudge or some permission to go down a new path, that's what I'm seeing time and again here. Let's go ahead now. And actually, one last thing before I do that. This new path could come from a friend or a loved one, okay? Now let's take a look at love and relationships, especially since I just highlighted that Two of Cups card. I want to see if there's any additional messages on how you can either strengthen existing ones or find new love. The message in love made me smile, because it's basically saying out of practice. We've got practice in reverse, and it's saying polish your skills by practicing regularly. So basically all we have to see is out of practice. So if you're in an existing relationship, you may just have fallen out of sync with your partner. If it's a business situation, the same thing is true. And it's also saying, like, practice what you preach. So if you're constantly saying one thing, but you're showing up differently, if you don't sort of hold to your own expectations, or vice versa, if your partner's doing that, this is a time to get real and bring things back into, again, like a fresh, clean slate. And for those of you that are simply a little bit nervous about getting back out and trying to meet someone, remember I saw the Two of Cups. The interesting thing was it did come with a younger card here. We have the Page of Swords. When I'm looking at potential partners, that would be on the younger spectrum. And it's potentially an air sign for many of you. Darker features typically. What I like with this, though, is good communication with whoever this partner might be for you, because we've got a page there and a Page of Swords at that. So don't be afraid to get out, even if you just meet and talk with someone. It all starts with a conversation. So I think a very casual meeting, like a coffee or a cocktail, could be a great thing for many of you. And that's actually what we see here, is the sharing of a drink. So I encourage you to do that, whether you're married, whether you're single, or whether you just want to meet up with a friend. It's important to keep that part of your life active. Social energy is important to you this month. As I saw earlier, it may actually open up an opportunity for some of you too, because the Fool is very close to that. So you may stumble upon something that you wouldn't have simply by getting out and being with a friend or being with someone that you like. It could open up some great new opportunities in business as well. So yeah, get out there. All right, let's take a look now at your Destiny card. Destiny is helping you basically do a little bit of wayfinding. Are you happy with the trajectory that you're on? Do you want to make some course corrections? This card will help you out with that. So there are a couple of messages that are coming through in Destiny. Let's talk about what an iceberg is and represents. There's something more than meets the eye. And this is true of almost everything that's coming through for you. When we saw the Justice card and we're looking at contracts and things of that nature, it's important for you to really go through it with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that you see everything and that you have good representation there, because that's what I'm seeing. And when it comes to relationships, something that may seem like a friendship may run much deeper. There may be a much deeper bond or a much deeper connection with that. And simply by saying no or taking a risk, you could open up some big path in your life that you would have never thought about. Something small actually can lead to something much bigger. So don't take for granted anything this month. One small decision really can shift your entire trajectory. The second piece of information I get here is don't close yourself off. When I see the submerged portion of this is really about pulling yourself back from friends, and we see this out of practice card, and it's actually right connected to love and relationships. So I think for those of you that have kind of cut yourself off, to me the iceberg is like the hermit, but it's not having a lot of the positive connotations of the hermit. So this is a month to come out of your sort of seclusion, or to take some risks if you're feeling like you're not sure it's going to be all right. In fact, it's really important for your overall growth. So yeah, do some great things with friends, family, and even just finding some new activities in your life. That's going to shift your energy too, just like exercise will. So if you do this, I feel like you're going to be able to make some positive shifts. And this is some of that alchemy that we're talking about. It's time to move out. It's time to spread your wings and become that butterfly. All right, let's move along now to the summary of everything that we talked about. And then after that, I'll leave you with the closing word. Your channeled message this month started off with the vision of a weather-related image where I saw a rainstorm sort of releasing, clearing, and I saw the sun coming out. It's interesting that the center card was crossed by the sun. It's also very interesting that your destiny card was showing that it's time to come out, time to sort of reveal and come out of that place of being submerged. So I do think that there is an emotional release for many of you that needs to happen. We also saw that message of needing to create space, whether it's saying no or walking away from something. That's important. Remember that there's a lot of ways to come out of this shell that we saw here. It could be a creative release, an emotional one, a material one. It could be an activity. There's a lot to think about here, but realize that by making space, you're going to allow for something better and something new to come into your life. There's a lot of messages this month about trying something new. In fact, when we looked at the Catalyst card, it said, unknown territory, you are exactly where you need to be. And we saw that with the Fool here. So don't be afraid to step out on your own and try something that you haven't before. It's that risk, it's that uncertainty that actually leads you into growth and into developing in new areas. Your center card is reminding you, listen to your intuition. It's guiding you on the right path. Don't hold back, and don't be afraid of doing something that you know is right, because you're being led by your higher self. That's why the sun is here as well. So the Fool, the High Priestess, and the Sun, a lot of great signs and symbols coming through this month. The High Priestess is reminding you, especially with that moon energy right behind her, to listen to the subtle messages that are coming through. Three of Wands, you've already set into motion positive growth and development. A lot of good things should be happening with business and with your life in general, even if we don't see the Pentacles here. This is a different kind of month for you. This is a month of healing relationships and really working through some emotional shifts that have to happen. Be careful when it comes to contracts this month, because we have Ace of Swords and Justice reversed, so there could be room for miscommunication. There might also need to be some corrections made on any sort of documentation. Ace of Swords overall is a very good card, though. It's saying that you should start to feel a sense of vitality, your motivation should pick up, and your verbal skills should be really one of your best assets this month. Again, don't be afraid to take a risk. Laugh things off a little bit, especially with yourself if you can, because it's important to be serious, but if you're too serious, then there's no room to kind of grow, to make mistakes, and to learn from that. The Seven of Wands is an interesting card this month. When it comes to justice, it means that the odds are stacked in your favor. When it comes to relationships, it might also be that wall that we were talking about, that you've sort of built up this fortress and it's hard for people to come in. So let the guards down a little bit, let people in, and more importantly, when it comes to workload, because there's a lot that you're doing, don't focus on the unnecessary tasks or the little tiny details that aren't really going to help you. Delegate those or say no. Justice is here right in between all of this, saying it's okay to push back and say no if something really isn't serving your greater good. Justice is saying fight the right battles in your life, walk away from things that don't make sense. It's a card of divorces, of quitting, of walking away when it makes sense. And if that's what you need to do, do that. We have the Page of Swords on top of this, and it's actually nestled between the Justice card and the Two of Cups. So when you release something, when you say no, then you actually make room for something better, for a partnership. So it's an interesting message and something you want to think about this month. In the expanded forecast, we have self-esteem being the most important thing that you can work on when it comes to mind, body, and spirit. When we look in the environment, really try to find peace this month and know that you can have healing with family members, particularly authority figures in your life. You might be out of practice when it comes to relationships as we look at love. Just give it a shot. Some things will work, some things won't, but the risk and taking a chance and putting yourself out there, that vulnerability is going to be what's key and what helps you in healing, both in love and also in family. Finally, come out of your shell, because the period during which you needed to protect yourself, that's starting to end right now. That starts with making this last stand, and then after that you can come out and you can be your own self, your true self, let your colors shine, and know that the next path, the next journey that you're on is going to be totally worth it. So that brings us to a close for this month. I hope you enjoyed everything that we talked about today, and that it gave you both the sense of empowerment and preparedness that you need to successfully navigate through all of the highs, lows, and in-betweens for the month ahead. If you ever feel like you want to talk a little bit more about something that either I covered here or that we didn't have a chance to cover in a general forecast, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to talk to you. You can check on rates and availability by clicking the first card or the first link below the video. And if it makes sense, then I look forward to connecting with you. If you enjoyed what you saw here and you would like to support me so that future videos are possible, I'd love for you to do that. The second card and the second link will connect you to my website. From there, there's a lot of different ways that you can provide some sort of a contribution. One is through joining me on Patreon. The other one is doing a one-time contribution, or you can also do that here through YouTube now with the join button. All of these methods help make the videos possible. Namely, they allow me to set up the time that I need, because each video takes 1 day. That's 12 days for the 12 videos. I also need to buy supplies. So when I receive a contribution, it all goes back into the production for each and every round of videos. So if you've done it before, this video was dedicated to you, and if you'd like to help make the next round possible, I'd just like to say thank you in advance. Finally, there's a really easy way that everybody can make a difference in this channel, and that's by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, commenting below, and if you'd like to join me on social media, please do so. The third card and the third link will connect you with my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts. You can also sign up for my newsletter. Thanks again to everybody who has gone that extra step of sharing this on your social media feeds. That helps other people discover this, and it's a resource that I really want to make available to everyone, so I appreciate you for doing that. So for the closing message this month, I wanted to bring in Apollo, who just woke up from his nap, and I wanted to talk about taking chances. A couple years ago, I know, buddy, I took a chance on this little guy, and it was the best decision I ever did. But when you adopt a baby, a dog, or try anything new, even if you get a new house or something, you don't necessarily know everything that you're getting into. But this risk, this leap of faith, was the best decision I ever made. I'm gonna let him get down so I can finish talking here. But to me, he's my son, or he's my fool, because he brought this new sense of irreverence into my life. And I want for some of you to take a step in a direction that you wouldn't have otherwise. I'd always wanted a pet, but I never had an opportunity to sort of allow for that energy to come in. And I knew when the time was right. But again, when I did it, I thought, am I making a mistake? In my heart, I knew I wasn't, but practically, I was like, there's so many things that I have to think about with that decision. So I'm mentioning this because of the Two of Cups. There could be something new in your life that you love, whether it's a decision to put that passion into some sort of a project or a person or an animal. This could change your life in ways that you never imagined. I'm a better person because of him. And the risk that I see for you, the Fool card, and I'm going to pull it up right, but the Fool card and then the Two of Cups, this is a chance on love or doing something that you love. Take that risk. It's always worth it. And even if you're in uncharted territory, That's sometimes the most exciting type of territory. It doesn't have to be scary. There doesn't have to be these icebergs coming through. For the rest of you, I would just say that it's important to pick and choose your battles, because with the Seven of Wands and the Justice card right next to the Peace card, that's the message there. Save your energy for the parts of your month that really need it. And if there's something that's not important, just let it fall like rain off your back and don't worry about it, okay? That brings everything to a close, and I'd just like to say thank you so much. I know you have a lot of choices, not only on YouTube but in life in general, and the fact that you spent the last 45 minutes or so with me means the world to me. So thank you so much. I'm humbled and honored by that. I'm wishing you love and light now and always. I'll see you again in 1 month's time. Until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to others as well. Take care.